Welcome to Hot Flash Chronicles, where midlife is messy, menopause is madness, and we're sweating through it together.
We're Angie and Shelly, two caffeine-fueled, slightly inappropriate grandmas who say what everyone's thinking.
So grab a drink, crank up the AC, and let's dive in. So Angie, today we're going to talk about the midlife glow up.
Okay.
You see that out there everywhere. Look at her glow up. And I wanted to talk about one, and I know you did too, where we just discuss what's actually better about being in your 40s and 50s. And we can touch a little bit about what's not as great. There are some things that are not as great, but I think a lot of people are afraid of getting older.
Right. And for reference, I'm 51. I have 5 grandkids, 6th one on the way at the recording of this podcast today.
There could be more, we don't know.
No, there are 5 now. There will be 6 shortly. Mm-hmm. So I'm 51. So I'm in my 50s now. I was, 50 and now I'm in my 50s. I'm almost 52.
Yeah. I am 3 seconds away from being 60. Well, I'm happy to know. And now I am. No. In a few months. Okay. I will be sorry.
Our birthdays are actually only 2 days apart.
Yeah.
We're both Leos. Surprise. We're both a surprise. Yeah.
So I have done almost all of my 50s now, and I'm almost done with menopause too.
Oh, almost. Okay. And I'm just starting.
I'm here to guide you.
I'm on the upward swing.
I'm your menopause guardian angel. Just what I'm going to say is get some guardian angel and wine and coffee. And you'll be fine. And a heating pad and some ice packs. Then you'll be fine.
You're scaring me.
Yeah, you should be. It's not for the
life. So, for the 51-year-old,
mm-hmm.
Should I do better or worse first?
I always say open strong.
Okay, so better. Here's what's better in my 50s in menopause age. I have grandkids. I'm obsessed with them. It is the best gig ever. They call me Oma. I am obsessed with my grandkids. Like getting to see your kids as parents is like you love your kids when they're little. I
still love mine even though they're old.
Right. That's what I'm saying is like every stage is great. And now we're in the stage of like seeing our kids be parents. So I love that. I love getting time to just spend time with the littles when I can. But I don't have to be like currently responsible for them. Like I didn't have to get a sitter today to come do this. Yeah. So there's some lovely freedom in that.
Yeah.
I do a lot of traveling now. Mm-hmm. We've been empty nesters for a few years, and I do a lot of travel for work with my photography, and I do a lot of travel with my husband. I love I'm like in a more financial safe space than I was previously. Like I've learned how to save money. I've learned how to make money. I've learned how to be unapologetic about asking for what I'm worth. So
everything.
Just very unapologetic. Although I do apologize a lot.
You do. You need to do that less. No, you just did it now. Stop it.
Sorry. No, I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
So the things that are better are they're all tied to like freedoms, like freedom to travel, freedom to be able to buy something if I want it, freedom to spend time with my kids and my grandkids and my husband. Like my husband and I get to have time in the evenings and we can do whatever we want. We can, the risk is sounding like a total grandma, play cribbage or backgammon or poker, or we can watch TV, or we can go to a hockey game. I can go watch my husband play hockey because he is a hockey player. So yeah.
Well, I'm with you on the grandma stuff for sure. I have 2.
Yeah.
So I lucked out. I have a girl and a boy, and they're 8 years old and 2.5. And all of the things you said, 100% true. It's an opportunity to get to have fun again and do I love getting to go to like kid movies in the movie theaters. Like, and I
haven't done that yet.
Oh, well, you got to.
When did you start? How old was?
Well, the little one can't go yet. He's insane. He would jump off.
How old was Abe's when he first?
He was about 5.
Oh, okay. And my oldest is 5, so maybe
to be able to sit.
He might be ready for that.
Yeah, he might be.
He might be ready.
Be able to sit through the whole thing. But I do really love when they cop an attitude. I'm like, and now we're going home to your mom and dad. Like, yeah. So that is a good safety net. It is really great. You get all the fun parts, and then when it gets gross, you just take them home.
See, I don't mind the gross stuff.
I mind some of the gross stuff.
I don't mind the gross stuff because it's just part of it. Like,
yeah.
Like,
well, the gross stuff is mostly attitudinal stuff for me.
Right. Last night we had a second Thanksgiving at my house because my next door neighbor hadn't gotten to do Thanksgiving. So we're like, Thanksgiving in March, why not? So we had her over, and then we had my son's family over, and the youngest, who is 2, almost 3, he's like in full toddler mode. He is so sweet. He's the love of my life. But he really wanted in the refrigerator.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He wanted in. So his mom and I are blocking it so he can't get in. He was pissed.
Yeah.
He's pushing us. Go away. Go away.
That's how I'm like, there's something.
Oh, buddy, it's all good. You know, like, it's fine. It's cute how he's so like, oh, too. You know, it's like adorable. So I don't mind the diapers. I don't mind the tantrums. It's fine. I also am not having to deal with it 24/7.
That's good, because I'm getting ready to be in diapers and have tantrums. So that bodes well for our friendship.
Wow.
I might be in one now.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
How do we feel about changing Shelly's diaper? To be determined. I feel like I would do that for you.
I would do it for a friend. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I would do that for you.
But I mean, I'm hoping.
If you needed me to, I would, for sure.
Yeah. If it was
Of course, you have a young husband.
Yeah.
I feel like he has.
Why do you think I got a young husband?
Smart.
Yeah. But I think I agree with you on the other things too, like freedom. I think freedom really is one of the big top of the glow up items. Just knowing that you can make your own decisions, that you don't, like, I used to run around and wait for a lot of other people to approve of the thing that I wanted to do.
Right.
Like, what will my mom and dad think? What are my friends going to think? What will my peers think? What will my coworkers think? And now I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this thing.
Right.
And now I'm kind of like, you can ask me anything, but I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that. That's like my slogan in life. I do what I want. And I think
why not?
That really, really transpired in my 40s and 50s, where I finally had enough confidence in myself that I was able to make that observation of, why do I think other people know what's better for me than...
Right. Why are we giving them that power?
Yeah. Why give away your power? So I
also learned never take criticism from somebody you wouldn't take advice from.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
exactly. And I think also another thing was, a lot of times I figured out if somebody doesn't like me, that used to really bother me. If somebody didn't like me, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to change?
I still struggle with that.
It's really difficult, especially I think women take all of that so much more to heart. And I kind of started figuring out, wait a second, most of the time these people who don't like me, I don't like them. Like, it's usually kind of almost a mutual thing. Like,
right.
Sometimes there's just people who are not your people. Like, your values, the things that are important to you, the things that matter, they're just not in alignment. And that is not bad, because you can't actually change and make everybody happy. If you do that, you're not being yourself.
Right. My son told me a couple years ago, because, hi, my name's Angie and I'm a serial people pleaser, which is why I apologize all the time. He was like, Mom, did you know that no matter what you do, there will always be at least 25% of people that don't like you? And I was like, I hate that, because that made me feel really squidgy about those 25%. And he goes, but here's the thing. If you change yourself to capture those 25%, you're going to lose 25% of the people that liked you when you were being authentic.
Yep.
So why not just stay authentic, and either people vibe with you or they don't? Either one is okay. Like,
and it is okay if
let
people,
them release.
It's okay if people do not like you.
Yeah.
We're not here on this earth to people please the entire planet. That is not why we're here. We're here to have our own goals in life, our own mission, our own things we want to do. And sometimes you have to be unapologetic about what that is and just do it. And that is the thing I would wish for anybody.
For sure.
If I could give you all one superpower, that would be it.
And Shelly, you're really good at setting boundaries and speaking up for yourself and speaking up for people that you care about. That's one of the things that I love most about you, is how strong you are as a champion for both yourself and the people in your life. Like, you very much advocate for what is right, what is just, all of those things. And you're so articulate. Like, anytime I'm in like a kerfuffle with somebody, I'm like, oh, can I just get Shelly to write this response for me? Because she can
I
like,
bet people do that.
whoa, she can
Could you
like,
tell me what to say?
I do not want to get on this one's bad side. That's how I feel. Because she is like, she has a silver tongue of sharpness that can come out.
With love.
It's usually used for total kindness and love and making me laugh like
Yes.
constantly.
Yes.
But when you have something that you're championing, you're very good at articulating it. And that's something that I would say I envy in like a admiration way, right? Like,
well, I think
words are good for you. You're good with words.
good words come out of faithful.
Good words.
That was
suck.
me being articulate, by the way. But since we're kind of fangirling on each other,
Okay.
so I think the thing, and this isn't what the podcast is about, but anytime we can compliment each other, we're going to
Obviously.
take it.
If you have something nice to say it. Like if you think something nice about somebody, like if you like somebody, Shelly, your hair looks so cute today. Like, why wouldn't you say that out loud?
Yeah.
Because I do that often and people are like, you just made my day. And I'm like,
I did.
oh, I just said I like
You can
your
just
shirt.
say something that's true and make somebody's day.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're interrupting.
Me.
I'm going to give you this. So Angie, the thing I've always admired about Angie is she can put a manifestation out into the world, and she does a lot of, I'm going to manifest this. I'm going to put the positive out, and I can sit back and watch it happen. So when she puts it out there, she does the work and the things that you need to do, because manifestation isn't just saying, I want blah, blah, blah. It's, I want this thing, and here's the things I need to do to help attract that stuff. Here are the steps I need to take.
Thank you for that.
And I think, I mean, I have watched you do this in things in your personal life, in your career, and you've been very successful by just keeping that mindset and always reframing what that thing is and how you're now going to adjust your sales.
Right.
Because things happen. We don't always get to go on that straight line.
Right. And you can hit a dip and a...
Yeah.
And thank you for that. And so one of the things that my mentor, Sue Bryce, teaches is, because she teaches a lot about manifestation and self-value, and she is like, just Google her. You're welcome. Sue always says, like, if you're trying to, I won't, like, she has the beautiful Kiwi accent. I won't do it because that's probably, I wouldn't do it justice.
Yeah.
But she always says, like, if you want something, you can't just sit on your couch with your hand down your pants saying, I want a Ferrari. Like, that's great that you want a Ferrari, but what are you doing to step towards it? Like, what are the incremental steps that you can take to get there? What's the lowest hanging fruit today that you can accomplish that will work you closer to having that Ferrari? You can't just sit there and be like, oh, I want $100,000 and then just like, poof, it shows up. No, there has to be action for that to happen. And that was like a big thing for me. I believe strongly in manifestation and speaking things into truth. And you create your reality, you create your own self-value. My husband is very much a skeptic. He is very much I need data. He's a researcher. He's like, he's very contained and like methodical, which is great because we complement each other, because I'm all over the place and he's very steady.
Yes.
So we always say, like, I breathe life into him and he chills me out.
Mm-hmm.
But he had gone on about like, oh, you can't just manifest something, da da da. Then a couple weeks ago, we were talking, I think we were on the hockey trip in Australia, and he was talking to the team, or somebody was talking to the team about a visualization exercise that they should visualize themselves. Like if you like sit and just visualize yourself winning and like you can make that happen. I was like, oh, that's wild. So you can just think about something and it'll happen? What? How does that work? I thought you needed to. And he was like, okay, touche. Got it. But I was like, wait, so do you think maybe visualizing something is a form of manifestation? So
could be.
Anyway, thank you for that compliment. That is something that I do feel like I'm very good at.
And I think just kind of tailing off of that, it's important when you're trying to manifest things or make things happen is you have to evaluate the things that are going on in your life. Like we're all busy. We're all busy people.
I like to say in high demand.
In high demand.
Busy implies you don't have time for someone.
Right.
Yeah.
In high demand, which means you have to be aware of what's on your plate. And I've learned the secret in my 40s and 50s, because I used to be out there people pleasing, trying to do all this stuff, was I had to learn to say no and say it nicely.
Oof.
It's real hard.
So hard.
It's hard to do it because every time you say yes to something, you're automatically saying no to something else because there's only so much time in a day, in a week, in your life. So I had to really start thinking, what is really important to me? Where do I want to spend my time? And I've been able to do that so much better in my 40s and 50s because when I was in my 20s and 30s, it was all over the place because I was raising my kids.
Right. You had soccer practice.
Yeah.
Like all of these little things.
Feeding my work in. I was commuting a long distance for work. So there was just, my life really was not within my own control so much in my 20s and 30s. About mid 40, that's when the switch came, which is the plus side. The up is that I started that process of being able to figure out my own schedule, my own life, and what things were important to me and what I was going to make time for.
Right.
So that's, the biggest plus side is just that independence and being able to figure out what are my goals, what do I want to do, how do they relate to my family goals, to my career goals, and how do I make all this happen? How do I manifest the things that I want to do?
Right.
So I couldn't do that in my 20s.
Right. And I am very much like I attract, I don't chase. I am in abundance, not scarcity. And I focus on what I have control over. I have had a lot of shit coming at me in the last year. You know this.
Yep.
Like I feel like my husband and I are walking through the middle of a tornado and stuff's just like happening around us that's terrible. And it's like, okay, in each of these things, what do I have control over?
Yeah.
And it's like most of them, it's nothing.
Yeah.
I have no control over most of what has happened. And it sucks. It sucks so bad to just have things falling apart around you that you have no control over. And then the choice comes, like what I have control over is how I react to it, how I do self-care, how I make myself get out of bed and do the things like hang out with people that inspire me, make me laugh, make me think, support me, encourage me, all of those things. Choosing those people very intentionally. But focusing on what you have control over, that was something I learned much later in life that I wish I had learned earlier.
Yeah, that's the other, like, we're like, if I could tell somebody, they always do this. What if you could tell somebody in their 20s something? I think one of them would be, you have to understand that the amount of control we really have in our lives and in our world is actually quite small.
Yeah.
And you utilize that whenever you can. Anything you can have within your control that can be a positive outcome for you or your family or your friends or whatever, absolutely do that. But be prepared much more for the things that are going to come at you.
Right.
Build a action plan for how you handle things that you do not have control over, because that is really much more of life.
Right.
Things that are going to come at you.
Shit's going to happen.
Yeah.
And some of it's going to super duper suck.
Yeah.
But focus on what you have control over. And that's something like, that'd be one of my takeaways, things that I like more now is that I'm actually learning a lot of life lessons that I can apply and I'm doing it unapologetically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's like that is the thing is like, you don't have to apologize. Like if you've made a mistake, it's absolutely appropriate to say, I made this mistake. I fucked up.
Yeah.
And you own it. Like the longer you work and put the energy into denying and justifying and trying to make the thing is a fuck up right, just don't. Like that's a waste of time. Just be like, oopsie, that was wrong.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
I'll cop that. I'll cop that. That's my bad.
I do that much more now because I just don't want to waste my time.
Yeah.
Building some big, we used to watch soap operas and there'd be seasons that would go on for somebody trying to defend a lie,
Right.
It's
Ain't
drama.
nobody got time for that.
Yeah, it's drama and it creates all this stuff, but it's just easier to nip at the bud and say, whoops, my bad, I was wrong.
Right.
Geez, I'll try to fix that. So cut to the chase, I'm 60. I'm only going to live to be like 110. I only have a few more good decades.
The optimism on this one, I love it. I love it.
110.
Absolutely, you will. What?
I won't be senile. And I probably will be incontinent, but that's why I have you.
Back to the diapers.
Back to the diapers.
That's a long way for a comeback. What are the things that are not as great?
I went through a stage a few years ago where every morning something hurt physically. It was like,
just in the morning?
What hurts
Love that for
today?
you.
Well, I get up and have coffee and denial. and then I'd be able to function through the rest. But I had like just I had some hip bursitis. I'm like, oh, I'm old now. I have a hip thing. I have a hitch in my get along. So, and then my shoulders started hurting. Then I was sweating all the time because of menopause. It was like just every day I was like, well, what's going to be wrong today?
It's like a wheel, like a spinny wheel. Like, what are we getting today?
Oh, yeah. I'm bloating now. Great.
Neat.
It was just like, so for me, there are physical changes, and I did learn that maybe I was going to have to do some things like walk a little bit, stretch a little bit, maybe move a little bit and keep those muscles working and not atrophying. So I think to me, the biggest downside has been navigating through physical stuff. And then just menopause all on its own is a whole other game. It's an emotional, physical game.
What has been a struggle for you with menopause? Like, what is like the thing that's like the most annoying?
I have a really good recall and memory and the ability to remember weird facts and stuff. And the little bits of, there was a point where I was like reading quizzes on, do I have early onset dementia? Because I kept forgetting just little, like one day I could not remember the name of the actor, Seth Rogen. And it was driving me nuts because I'm like, he has a funny laugh. He has a funny laugh and I can see him and I just couldn't pull over. Yeah.
It's a great Seth Rogen impression.
Thanks, Seth Rogen. You're welcome for that impression. But I just couldn't remember his name. And it was like, I'm like, why can't I remember shit anymore? And then I went out and saw this article. It was like, if you're Googling, do you have early onset dementia and blah, 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 you might just be in menopause. I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. So the memory loss was a big one. And a couple of times I had really big hot flashes. It was always at Fred Meyer, which is a Kroger store. I don't know why the biggest times I had them, where I really remember I was in Fred Meyer's like 3 times where I just started sweating uncontrollably. And I'm like, what is happening? Am I having a heart attack? Why am I sweating? Oh no, I'm just in menopause. So that was gross. Or I'd wake up with the sheets kind of gross and slimy and wet because you've like had a hot flash.
I didn't do that last night.
No.
Yeah. Ugh.
I'm almost done with all that. I'm almost done.
It stops? I didn't know if hot flashes stop.
Yeah, mine have. They've tapered way down.
Mine are just starting. No me gusta. Yeah, I don't love it.
Walk you through yours and I'll just sit cool as a cucumber.
Why is Angie always have a fan blowing on her?
And Shelly's got a fur wrapped around her. What's going on? We'll accommodate everybody here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But that's really it. Did you have any?
Definitely the memory thing. Mm-hmm. I forget stuff all the time.
Like she forgot the episode we were going to talk about right here. She couldn't remember. We just said 3 minutes earlier.
Not even 3 minutes. It was like a minute and a half before we started. Yeah. We're like, what's the topic? Okay, it's going to be like 40.
Midlife Glowup.
Yeah. And then we sat down. I was like, wait, what are we talking about? Like we just talked about it.
Yeah. And our brains don't have space for that.
Here's what's really fun about me is if you watch something with me, like a TV show or a movie, I can almost promise I'm not going to remember anything about it even the next day. So my husband has a really, really good memory. Like I did it because like you were literally.
You can remember a day.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
He has like a photographic memory maybe. Anyway, really good memory. He's super, super smart. And we'll go to like a new season of something will come out and we'll be like episode 1 of season 3. And I'm like, wait, who's that guy?
He's like, are we watching this?
He goes,
show?
You got to go back and watch them, don't we? And it's like, sorry. It's just a reality.
Especially if it takes a year for some of these new shows to come out. I can't.
Right. We were on a trip in Australia with the hockey team a couple weeks ago. And we watched part of a movie. And the next day I was like, okay, I remember Al Pacino was in it. And I was like, lots of gunfire.
That's every Al Pacino movie.
Yeah, that's all I got. Was somebody in trouble? I feel like somebody was kidnapped or something.
Somebody was in trouble.
They're like, no. And I'm like, they're like, we just watched that last night. I'm like, hi, I'm pretty. So the memory is awful. I also just, about 2.5 years ago, got diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah.
And I tipped the scales on it. Like my doctor that tested me said I tested higher than anybody she'd tested before. And I was like, oh, and she goes,
That's not one of those.
what do you want to ace?
Yeah.
So I was taking Adderall every day, but that kind of throttles my creativity as a photographer. So I only take it maybe once a week now. If I have to like get shit done. If I have like a task list, it's like I should take my Adderall. But I think ADHD plays really strongly into the menopause.
Well, menopause is hormonal. That's what's going on is your hormone levels are changing. So I think some things get more exacerbated, like if you're ADHD. And then some things just kind of go away. And it's
right.
That's why it's so confusing for a lot of women, I think, because you really just don't feel like yourself.
Right.
It's just like, my brain is not the same. Whoever.
Right.
So that's the part that's not super great.
Right. And the physical stuff too. Like, I was in a major accident about 7 years ago. I'm never less than a 4 out of 10 in pain since that accident. I'm always in pain.
Yeah.
And then other things hurt. Like right now, currently, just sitting here without moving, my shoulder blade hurts, my hip hurts, and my left knee hurts, and the bottom of my right foot. Super random.
My low back. I'll go through my low back is killing me right now. We're sitting on a crate.
Yes. It's an apple box. It's a wooden box.
It's a wooden box.
Very comfortable for me.
Oh, okay. So my low back's a lot. I have a little shoulder thing going on. I'll match your shoulder and I'll raise you. My neck has a little
head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
They all hurts. I'm in pain. Yeah. So that's always kind of a low grade background noise.
There's
a little bit of that. And I just power through and pretend like it's not happening and drink coffee.
Right. I also, just over a year ago, got hearing aids. So that's fun.
Yep.
I have hearing aids. My eyesight is going.
Oh, dear.
I should wear glasses, but I can't seem to get my brain used to the
bifocal.
Yeah, thank you. See, I couldn't find a word. The thing that progressive. That's what I'm thinking. The progressive lenses. My brain just can't figure it out, and I know you just have to write it out and do it, but I can't. So I shouldn't say can't. I haven't mastered that yet.
Yeah, there we go. It's a work in progress.
So a lot of like physical stuff, and then just like mental, like I just forget shit constantly.
So, like in a nutshell, all of this,
and not to not give you hope. If you haven't hit this phase yet, go rewind to all of the wonderful.
Well, I was going to say, if we bring it back around.
Yeah, even if you're forgetting stuff and you hurt, you're going to have money.
You're just much more empowered than you are in your forgiveness.
You'll have like stuff to do. You'll
be able to travel somewhere.
You'll be able to hang out with people while you're in pain.
And go have a nice dinner somewhere with a bottle of wine if you want. But you'll be in pain. You'll be in severe pain. But the upside, I believe, like all the important things, like the emotional growth, who you are as a person, I feel like all that's way on the rise up. Like that gets better and better. Like I'm not afraid about turning 60. I feel like, wow, this last decade, 50 to 60, was probably the best in terms of how I feel about myself, like my self-confidence, who I am, and making things happen. That really was a great decade for that. And I feel even more empowered and inspired going on into the next one. Like, I'm not afraid of that.
Right.
The physical stuff, it's like you just have to start investing in yourself and doing these things that you know are going to help you as you get older. Like, take care of your bone, get the bone density test. Make sure you don't have
the mammograms, get the colonoscopies.
Like, do all of
stay up on that. As a colon cancer survivor, stay up on that. Like,
don't put those things off. I used to put those things off because I'm like, I don't have time and I don't want to know, and I don't know, what if there is something? And it's like, well, you can die if there is something and you're ignoring it. So do all the maintenance. You're a classic car. Think of it that way. I'm a 65 Mustang.
I'm a 73 something. Barracuda.
Woo! We're good. We're some sexy cars here. And you need to, if you have those in 2025, you really need to make sure you are doing the upkeep on those classic.
That reminds me, I'm supposed to schedule a blood draw and a mammogram. Thank you for
do that. Do it. You do it too.
So we would love to hear your comments on what your
glow up is.
Your glow up is. What are things that are better? And you don't have to be in our age bracket. You can be in your 20s. Like, what's different in your 20s than it was in your teens, or what's different in your 30s and your 20s, and
or just what's different in your
for better or for worse. It's happening. Like, I'd rather age than not.
Yeah, that's a good alternative. Not aging doesn't age well.
Let's not. Yeah. And I still, like, sidebar, I still don't feel like a grown-up mentally.
No. I mean,
Is that ever going to click to where I'm like, I mean, I feel responsible.
I think I feel like after you're 30, it's all the same. Like I there was some learning lessons, life learning in your teens and your 20s that you kind of go, but I feel like 30 is a really important. Usually by then you've had some loss, you've had some breakups, you've had some life. And I think after you get to there, everything is just embellished from there. Like you add different things, but it's kind of you're the same.
Yeah. And what I mean by I don't feel like a grown up is I don't feel super mature.
No, you're not.
Thank you.
I'm not either. We take that as a high compliment.
We lean into the maturity.
Why do it if you don't have to? If you can still have a good life and run your responsibilities.
And laugh your face off with your best friend. Like, come on.
Then why be mature?
Well, I mean, you guys can tell that we have fun together, I'm sure. Like,
you'll probably learn we have way too much fun together. We're really doing this for us. Like you're welcome.
We may even if we get like 2 followers, it's like it might be just us.
We might be the only.
My mom will probably follow us.
Yeah, I might be able to like hornswoggle somebody into.
But it's really us because we amuse the shit out of ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's like we should record this.
We should. We just sometimes we say good shit and we want to share it.
And we hope that our grandkids someday will watch this and be like, "Wow, Oma."
We'll just take this to our therapist. This is why I am.
Therapy Chronicles.
Look at my grandma. This is where it all came from.
Grandma, this is why I'm like this.
Yeah.
So,
but we'd love to hear about you.
Yeah.
And make sure and look at the notes on this episode. Follow us on our social media. There's probably going to be some weird stuff out there.
Yeah. Hopefully. And that is a wrap for this episode. Hit subscribe and stay tuned for the next podcast.
See you later. That's a wrap on this episode. If you laughed, related, or just need more, hit subscribe.
Check out the show notes to find us on socials and YouTube and join our Patreon for exclusive extras.
And remember,
we're still hot, just in flashes.